my name is Jack. Welcome back to Off the Runway, your favourite new chat show where we talk to all the fabulous queens from Drag Race UK, Season 6. And joining us today, is she the drama? I think she is. She's drag Scottish royalty, Chanel O'Connor, and we're mourning. We are in mourning, aren't we, my lovely? Oh.
I'm okay. Every day gets better. And we just have to keep powering on.
No, I am mourning. I've been mourning all week. We all have. So I need to know, apart from mourning yourself, how are you now, my lovely? You've had a week to kind of soak it all in since the episode aired. How are you now? Where is your headspace? Take me from it.
You know, my head, I got it removed for a bit, had a full frontal lobotomy, and now I'm absolutely fine. It's one of those things that drag is drag, but you know what's really important in life? Douching at the appropriate temperature.
I am a self-proclaimed mega fan of Chanel, and I'm a subscriber of the YouTube channel, as you can expect, and I enjoy all your videos. And of course, as a good fan should, I've watched all of them. So I've watched your last one, and I saw how you kind of went through how you were actually quite happy to go home after the last episode. And if anything, relieved I got from watching your video. Take me through, again, that headspace you kind of had during the filming and how you got to that moment where you actually felt happy to leave in the end.
You know, it's so funny. You get there and you're destined to fight. You're destined to try your best to like get to the end. And listen, I was at the halfway point, no badges. I'd ran out of my finest of Chanel No. 5 perfumes. I was literally scraping the bottle with my Charlotte Tilbury concealers. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I simply couldn't. I also kind of felt like you get emotionally run down after a while because listen, I was a bit of a punching bag and every joke was about me, every confession was about me. And after it being about me so much, I was sick to death of the airtime. I was sick to death of it. So I just knew it was time to go. And listen, I'm not going to be an individual who's going to say no to getting to go home early from a horrible holiday with a bunch of grotesque drag queens who want to tear you apart for limb from limb. Joe, it's so funny. One of my friends, Madonna, said this to me. She said, you know, Chanel, you went on that season making almost everything. You spent the whole time really working on yourself and prioritizing you, whereas other people, you know, got their stuff bought for them, got their stuff made and didn't. And for me, I felt so proud to be able to go there and get as far as I did using my own skills and knowledge and what I could bring to the table.
And of course, we did see the judges' critiques, we saw the comments. I would love to know what was going through your head in that moment, because I know you've shared your feelings afterwards and, you know, you can't have been too happy, but I loved your look. You know, like you said, not everyone will, that's fine. It's all up to taste, but, you know, what was really going through your head? What would you have liked to have said in that moment if you could get away with anything?
It's difficult because the judges are there to do a job. The judges are there to give us critique, to give us reviews of how we have done and their perspective. And it was an interesting one because with Amanda Holden, I took her critique on board, I took her perspective on board. It didn't stay on board very long. You know, it went back to the kind of third class at least, and then was not served any beverages at all or given any thought. You know, I save a very special place in first class for individuals like Russell T. Davis, who actually was an individual who commented on my post saying that they loved the look. And he was very, very complimentary about it. So, you know, I take that on board, and I think that's what you should do with all comments in life. You should pay attention to the people you want to focus on.
Watching the last episode, seeing you open up to Kyran, that was a really special moment because we got to see you get really vulnerable as well. And you just had it. You know, you talked about your emotional burnout. That was the moment we really just saw you, like, you had it, you let loose. And it was lovely to see you get so human on, you know, with Kyran though. What kind of made you feel comfortable with Kyran to have that moment and to really open up and be so vulnerable?
During the filming, I had no indication that they had any opinions of me that were negative. So it was kind of a shock to the system when you watch it back and you go, oh, you had a lot to say about me in the press. And then for me to sit there and have a conversation with her, I think it's one of those things that to the viewer, it might not make sense. But to me in that moment, Kyran was an individual who I'd been going to a lot of the time and kind of talking to and keeping up with, and she was someone who brought me a lot of joy on set. So I just thought this was a moment for us to maybe have a bit of a conversation, because listen, Lil was bored shitless of me, Marmalade was bored shitless of me. It was very few and far between people. I was like, right, who likes me enough that I could cry in front of them and they wouldn't laugh at me? I cried that whole day. That whole day, I just felt such emotions. I missed home. I missed so many comforts, and I felt very disappointed in my performance, and that obviously led me to feel these emotions, because like it felt very much like it felt like I was about to go.
Yeah,
so I definitely had that moment where I was like, well, I'm just going to be real, because I've got nothing else to give. I've got nothing to lose. So I'm just going to have a little moment where I can just say to people, listen, I may not be a stone cold, I do have emotions. And it takes a lot. I'm a diamond. It takes a lot of pressure to crack me.
Yes.
And this is the one place that did crack.
Now, you've heard enough from me. I've got so many fan questions come through for you, and that's why I want to take you to our next segment. This is our Curiosity Corner, and our first question's from Sarah. So are you ready to hear from Sarah, Chanel? If you ever came back on Drag Race, and I hope you do, what would you do differently a second time round, knowing what you know now? Because you know so much.
You know, I think I would be a lot nastier, because if you want me to be the villain, I'm going to be the villain. And I think there's much more evil things I could have done. I could have happily switched everybody's shoes in the workroom for 2 left shoes. Figure that one out. How did I do that? Because I'm fucking good. I could have happily unpicked every single one of their side seams in every single one of their outfits. How did I do that? You're going to have to find out and watch the next season of All Stars. You know, I could have been wickedly evil, but I decided not to. And I think actually, you know, I might go into this next experience, whatever that may be, being a wee bit more Team Chanel. Listen, I'm not going to make anybody else's things. I'm gonna show you how to turn a machine on, and that's all I'm going to show you.
Ryan asks, were there any queens you didn't instantly click with during the filming process?
Behind the scenes story, I didn't get along with Zahira.
Oh, really?
I really struggled with Zahira. I'm not a morning person, if you could say that. And I kind of found her energy a bit off-putting at times. But now I like love it so much, and it brings such like a variety and such beauty to like any fucking room that we're in. So she was an individual who at first I was like, yep, let's kill her. And then now I'm like, oh, I treasure her so much. I adore Miss Sahara.
I want to take you to our next segment, because this is Drag It Forward. And I love this segment because it's all about giving queens a chance to have a bit of a spotlight and talk about who you'd like to see on Drag Race who hasn't had the moment yet. So are there any queens maybe on your scene or friends of yours that you love and would love to see shine on Drag Race UK one day who haven't yet?
Oh, that's a beautiful idea.
Thank you.
Now, with being from Scotland and being the 3rd queen from Scotland to feature on the show, it is imperative that we continue the effort to include all of the nations of this beautiful, beautiful country that we live in. So I believe that Scotland should be there. So there's certain people in Scotland that I could give names for. But then that would be biased. But I would say what we need to definitely do is focus on Scottish drag, because it is so powerful, it is so magnificent, and it should absolutely be featured on the next season.
Moving on from the sweetness, we're going to take it to a little game now. It's our next segment, Chanel. This is Guest Judge, Collab, and Sashay Away. Now, as you can get, it's a little bit like Snog, Marry, Avoid, okay? But obviously, we're talking Drag Race. So I'm going to give you 3 celebs, and you're going to tell me who you'd love to see as a guest judge on the show, who you'd love to collab with in some way, and who you would tell to sashay away. Are you ready, Chanel?
I'm ready for this.
Of course you are, darling. Of course you are. Now, listen, I struggled with the names this week. I thought, who can Chanel play with? And I decided for you, you'd have Victoria Beckham, Raye, the singer, we love Raye, and Millie Bobby Brown.
So, first of all, I would say, no offense to her, Sashay Away, Millie Bobby Brown, because you've had far too many good things happen to you in life. And I also believe that Victoria Beckham, no babe, I think Raye, guest judge Raye.
Yes.
And then what was the other option?
That means you're going to collaborate with Victoria Beckham, which makes sense because look at your
makes
look.
sense. We could play strip poker and have a fabulous time, is what I'm trying to say. Well,
Well,
she
yeah,
wouldn't. I would play with David. She'd be in the other room.
But
It'd be this
exactly.
situation.
Now, that brings me to our next game, okay? And I think you're going to like this one. It's called Snatch That Wig. Now, I'm going to give you 4 categories, and you're going to tell me what you'd like to steal from a queen on the cast. Now, I will say, one of the categories we'll get to at the end is shade. And you were called the shadiest queen by Dita and Zahira. So just keep that in mind when we're playing, okay? Are you ready? Our first category for you, Chanel, is wardrobe. And this has been stolen from you actually a few times, I will say. So wardrobe, whose wardrobe do you want to steal out of the cast?
What blind person chose from my wardrobe when you have Marmalade or Lil to choose from? Listen, I would choose Lil's wardrobe. I think I would have a fabulous time in her wardrobe. And I would be able to fit in her wardrobe. I would not be able to fit in Marmalade's.
Perfect, it's meant to be. There you go, Lil. Just come for your wardrobe. Now you've got dance moves. Whose dance skills do you want to steal?
Shockingly enough, we never saw it because of the knee, but Saki's dancing skills are fantastic. She's a trained dancer, so I appreciate what she does, and she can do a range of dancing, which is so fabulous. So, and I know we're on a team with Octavia, the dancing diva, but I don't have the energy to be around her terribly too much. So I think I'd probably spend more time in a dance class with my dearest friend, Saki.
Okay, you've got comedy, okay? So which comedy queen would you steal all the jokes from?
Oh, Lavoie. Because then I would have won a badge.
No, our last category, as I mentioned, shade. So which queen would you steal the shadiness and the best reads from? Now, of course, you were voted by Dita and Zahira in this category. Just saying.
Do you know what? I would say Zahira. Zahira when she wants to be nasty, she can be nasty. And that's my favorite thing about her, is I have seen her pissed off twice. Both because she couldn't reach the top shelf in the fridge. But it was she's hilarious. She's hilarious when she gets angry. So and when she pops off, because there was sometimes she clocked me. And I was like, okay, Miss Sahara.
We see you. Well, we love you both for that. We love the shadiness. Now, our last segment, Chanel, sad to say, is Future Realness. Now, this is all about you telling us what you see for yourself in the future 4 years from now. What are you envisioning for yourself? Give it to me all. What are you gonna see 4 years from now? Who's Chanel gonna be?
I want to get my knees done. So I'm 6'2". I'm sick of being in a delicate 5'10". I'm sick of it. That's the first thing on my priority list. So I would say that. I'd also say it's really appropriate for me to continue working on my efforts of YouTube. You know, you're such a fan of the show. I appreciate you so much. And I appreciate you watching my YouTube. So for me, I think having my own content is key for me to continue to brainwash the people into thinking I'm not a villain and I'm not a horrible person.
Of course.
So that's my biggest campaign lead. But the other thing I'm very excited to do is spend more time with the girls on tours, spend time meeting the fans, spend time I'm so excited for DragCon this year. It's going to be so fantastic. And it's going to be a momentous occasion for us all to be together again and to just be able to relax, enjoy, and have fun.
I can't wait to see that. And you all heard it here first. Make sure to subscribe to Chanel on YouTube. So make sure you do that. Do not forget. And make sure you subscribe to us as well. And also make sure that you join us here same time next week for another episode of Off the Runway with another fabulous queen from Drag Race UK. And we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Thank you for having me. Ciao, Bella.
Ciao, Bella.